let's talk about Monster Train. It's a game where you play as a soulless politician and drive your unwilling passengers straight into the abyss. Wait, sorry, I was getting this game mixed up with real life. Silly me. Monster Train is a game about hentai trains. Wait, no, it's a game about nothing.
Well, what's it all about?
It's about nothing.
No story?
No, forget the story.
You gotta have a story.
Who says you gotta have a story?
Maybe I should just get my script. Alright, says right here, dingus. It's a roguelike card-based game where you play as demons against the goody two-shoes angels who invaded hell and froze it over. Speaking of hell freezing over, I'm trying to get 300 subscribers, so either hit that sub button or just come kill me and put me out of my misery. Back to the game. If you like Slay the Spire, SteamWorld Quest, or turn-based roguelikes and card battle games, this is one to watch. Let's rock! Gameplay. Monster Train gameplay is a treat. The gameplay loop was made with maximum addiction for card battle gamers in mind. With 225 cards, not including faction champions, and 95 artifacts, and more card upgrades than you can shake your Cheeto-dusted finger at, the combinations are nearly infinite. They could have a course on this game at Harvard. Not that I would go, too many nerds, not enough money. You start by picking two clans. One will be your champion and main clan, the other will be your support clan. I will be making an in-depth guide on the clans and their champions in Monster Train, since I am climbing Covenant ranks currently. Those are basically more difficulties. But for now, I'll summarize them briefly. Hellhorned are classic red demon guys. They like to hit things, sacrifice imps for a range of effects, such as extra armor or hulking out. Awoken are the tree people. They stack high defense and thorns, which damage enemies when they're struck. They also use a lot of extra card draw spells and stat boosts. If you play this clan, you're a certified vegan. Your hemp shirt and badge are in the mail. The Stygian Guard are all about the spells. Stacking Frostbite, which is damage over time, spell weakness so your spells hit harder, and generally feeling like a big brain. Play this clan if you think you're Yu-Gi-Moto. Umbra are your edge boys. They eat smaller, weaker allies to gain strength, and have more risk versus reward. They're kind of like a corporation in that respect. If you want to punch through 3 enemies with a giant 150 attack monster, or on the flip of a coin end up with 3 monsters that can't even attack without eating something, this is your class, Shadow the Hedgehog. Finally, we have my favorite class, the waxy boys themselves, the Melting Remnant. They have units that are powerful, but have countdown timers before they die. These can be extended with other cards or left to burn out to revive them even stronger. Play this if you want to feel like a necromancer whose favorite movie is House of Wax. The clans in Monster Train mix and match, so you can get really creative with your strategy to win. How do you win? That part's simple in theory. Beat the ever-loving snot out of the nosy angels who froze hell, put their leader in the dirt, and relight the ember of hell. You start each run with a couple options to pick to power up your champion, and select an artifact. Then begin your journey on what is probably the least safety-inspected railroad in the history of the universe. So it just goes nowhere. To survive, you need to protect your pyre at all costs. Think of it as your HP bar. It runs out and you get dead. Run over. No takebacks. There are 4 floors. Your pyre's on the top, and enemies will appear on the bottom floor and work their way upwards to try and attack your pyre. Place your monsters down strategically and play your cards to kill them all before they get there. Some bosses float around creating beef with you by debuffing your guys or buffing their allies, or getting cheeky with a few attacks in. And some have to walk the whole time and appear only at the end of the fight. Kill them instantly to end the fight and start traveling to the next. Did I mention the bosses you encounter are randomized? They are. Even the end boss each run can be different and require different approaches. In between fights, you can select 2 paths with various nodes. For example, shops to buy trinkets for passives, shops to buff monsters or spells, a place to draft units, heal your pyre, bonus gold, or even card removal. And, my favorite, a cave which can give you many random events, some of which are very beneficial. The cool part about this game is making the best out of randomness provided to you. A lot of roguelikes focus on that aspect since it is defining of the genre, but even with the randomness in this game, it seems a little less chaotic than others. Sometimes in the genre you can be locked into several mediocre choices or even bad ones. In this game it seems to happen less often because runs and playstyles are adaptable. Don't like a card? Skip it for 10 gold. Made a mistake? Purge it from the deck at a store or the removal event. You can even adjust your deck and strategy on the fly once you encounter something that may change it up. When you are just starting out the game, certain clans and cards are locked. By playing more, you unlock more artifacts, clans, and cards. I really liked this progression system. It had more to work for and kept things fresh. If that's not your bag, there are multiple play modes. There's a time attack against other players, daily challenges, and community challenges. Still not enough? Each run has mutators. Want to fight enemies with googly eyes looking like they just saw your thickness? You can.
Damn, boy, he's thick! Boy, that's a thick-ass boy!
Another pretty cool thing is the fact that runs don't take long. You can sit down for an hour and beat one, and you can quit at any time, saving progress before the current battle, so it's friendly for busy people too. Not fast enough for you? You can adjust the battle speed from slightly faster to Sonic after snorting his body weight in cocaine.
Good feelings.
What I would have liked to see would be a little bit more enemy variety. Yes, the modifiers and randomness are both there, but compared to the vast array of other variety in the game, they seem kind of limited in comparison. I would say the part that kept me coming back the most was trying new playstyles and build ideas. Sometimes I would intentionally try and break the game by getting a unit with 1,000 or more attack with multi-strike, or try and stack thousands of frostbite on a boss. The cool part? The game would indulge me, like a grandma stuffing me full of chocolates. To sum up the gameplay, everything is chocolate.
Everything in this room is eatable. Even I'm eatable. But that is called cannibalism.
Besides the nearly non-existent story, this is the area the game doesn't have too much to be said about it, in my opinion. I do like the animations. They are pretty fluid for spell effects, but something about the animation just strikes me as a bit odd for enemies and allies. Some kind of hunch forward, and others just slowly bob up and down. I would have liked to see more unique animation for humanoids versus non-humanoids, and across different clans. For example, maybe flames around the Hellhorn, or wax actually dripping off of the melting remnant. Character design itself, however, is really nice. There's a clear difference between most units. There are a few where they just slightly retune the model of another. For the most part, every unit looks unique, and the designs remind me a bit of a graphic novel. I'm not sure exactly what it is about that aesthetic that calls it to mind, but it does. One area I really think would spice it up is different train backgrounds during fights. You will spend the majority of your playtime fighting on your train, so only having one background option for it can get very tiring on the eyes. I realize for story purposes it wouldn't make sense if your train changed between fights, but maybe they could implement a selection of train backgrounds that you could change in the menu or between runs. It could also be another collectible. That would do wonders for the overall eye fatigue, which is present if you play for too long. Audio! This is an area where they did excellent. The soundtrack is by Jordan Chin, and the songs are one of the best things about this game. Songs are symphonic in building, driving forward with a feel similar to the train itself in-game. The songs utilize many instruments to get that symphonic feel. Some use choruses and keyboards, others use actual train and railroad sounds to give them an industrial feel. With 27 songs, I never felt bored with the music. The soundtrack kills it and blends with the game perfectly. My favorite song is called Lost to the Bogs, and it has this odd gypsy-like feel to it, with a lilting melody and an undertone of malice. Let's listen to that for a moment. The sound bites for effects and attacks are minimalistic but do work. If you play on high speeds, however, prepare for a bit of ear destruction with a million crunchy sounds a second. Difficulty. You can make it as difficult as you want, making it simpler with mutators in a low covenant level, or insanely hard by setting everything against yourself to the point that every battle is an endless hell of sacrifice. So crank it up.
No, I don't think I will.
They do honestly make it approachable for people of any skill level, and you will improve as you learn the game and find your personal playstyle, which will allow you to overcome the difficulties and randomness. That's good because with 25 Covenant levels, you have plenty to work at. Like all roguelikes, there's some degree of luck involved too, so keep in mind some of your runs will have you smiting angels while power tripping, and others will be like shooting wet noodles at a brick wall with a rubber band slingshot. Bugs! Frame dips were a rarity, but did sometimes happen. I did not encounter any crashes or oddities during my 50 hours of playtime. Value! You heard it here first, the game is packed with value. Even after you manage to unlock all the cards and trinkets from playing, you can unlock card borders for completing challenges, and golden card versions unlocked by winning rounds with the specific cards involved. With 25 Covenant difficulties to push for, mutators to change gameplay up, daily challenges, community challenges, and time attack, you really have so much to do, it's insane. I could see myself getting at least 100 or more hours in game, and you could potentially get more out of it if you want to do Iron Man runs or other challenges. The game is currently priced at $24.99 on Steam, and when weighted against that, it has more value packed into it than Costco toilet paper packs. Summary. If you like Slay the Spire, just buy this game. It's exactly tailored for you. If you like roguelites but don't care too much about exploration and you care more about fighting and randomness, get it. It's also made for you. If you like card games, this is also right up your alley. But if you don't fit into those categories, will you like this game? Potentially yes. It has more control over chaos than most roguelites, but if you like exploration and the idea of just fighting nonstop bores you, I'd probably avoid this one. I personally love card games though, so this was great fun to review. Final score. So what's the final score for our Monster Train review? I give it 9 OSHA violations out of 10. Man guys, I am loving making these videos for you. It took almost 50 hours of playtesting and 12 hours of editing to get this video to the point that you're seeing it today. If you enjoyed it and liked it, go ahead and like and subscribe me please. It really helps with getting my YouTube videos in front of other people with the algorithm, and it's just an awesome thing to do. Gives me clout, makes me feel good, warm and fuzzy. Don't you want that? If you can give that to somebody else, I know I do, which is why I make these videos. And if you want to see me do a specific video game, or you have some critiques or comments for me below, just go ahead and tell me. I want to know what you think. Thanks, and see you next time.